Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game.
Jonathan Kuminga standoff puts Warriors on the brink of off-season disaster. No matter how this ends, it's looking like a lose-lose situation. As the standoff between the Golden State Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga drags on this offseason, potential solutions have surfaced, but none of them offer a truly satisfying outcome for either side. Kuminga's contract demands are reportedly well above what the Warriors believe he's currently worth, creating a gap that all but guarantees disappointment, whether that comes through a tough contract renewal or a trade that fails to deliver fair value. Either way, Golden State is flirting with disaster. There's still hope that a resolution can be found before things get worse. But time is running out, and the damage may already be setting in. The Warriors are facing a no-win situation with Kuminga. When the offseason began, all eyes were on how Golden State would handle rising tensions between its front office and one of its most promising young players. Now, nearly a month into free agency, there's still no deal. Recent reports suggest Kuminga isn't in a rush to sign anything, and that means a resolution may still be weeks or more away. Kuminga sees himself as a future star, and he's looking for a role and a paycheck that reflect that. Whether it's in a Warriors jersey or elsewhere, he wants to be treated like a centerpiece. For the Warriors, the ideal scenario was either re-sign Kuminga and give him the opportunity to grow into a bigger offensive role, or trade him for a strong return that helps the team win now. But neither option is looking good at the moment. Both paths are lined with obstacles. Bringing Kuminga back on a sizable deal would severely limit the team's financial flexibility, at least until they could potentially flip his contract down the line. That could jeopardize their chances of signing proven veterans like Al Horford or DeAnthony Melton. On the trade front, interest around the league seems to have cooled. Teams don't appear willing to meet the Warriors' asking price, especially if it involves giving up a first-round pick for a still-developing talent. That means any deal on the table right now likely brings back less than what Golden State hoped for. In short, the Warriors are stuck between bad and worse. Limited options, none of them great. Golden State can wait it out and hope Kuminga eventually agrees to something closer to $20 million per year, but that risks carrying a frustrated player into next season, which could impact chemistry and performance. Alternatively, they could offload him now at a discount, settling for a weaker trade package just to move on and stabilize the roster. There's also a slim chance Kuminga accepts his $7.9 million qualifying offer, plays one more year, and then walks away in 2026 with the Warriors getting little to nothing in return. Whichever path they choose, there's no clean or comfortable resolution left on the table. Unless something shifts quickly, the Warriors are staring down the very real possibility of losing a key asset, or hurting their long-term future, for nothing close to equal value. A tense standoff drawing league-wide attention. The longer this situation lingers, the more unstable it becomes, not just for the Warriors, but for Kuminga's reputation around the league. Front offices are watching closely. Some see a young, high-upside forward with untapped star potential. Others see a player who's clashing with a respected franchise and hasn't yet proven he can be the focal point of a winning team. It's a perception battle that could have major implications for Kuminga's value, both financially and competitively. Internally, sources suggest there's growing frustration among members of the Warriors' front office. With free agency winding down and most top-tier veterans already signed, every day without movement on Kuminga's situation further limits their options. Players like Horford and Melton, once thought to be strong fits for Golden State's bench depth and defensive needs, may now be out of reach. And in the locker room, the uncertainty is starting to trickle in. Veteran leaders like Draymond Green and Stephen Curry reportedly remain supportive of Kuminga's growth, but even they understand the urgency of resolving the impasse before it festers into a full-blown distraction. A crucial fork in the road. The Warriors are now facing an off-season crossroads that could shape the next several years of their franchise. Kuminga, entering what should be the breakout phase of his career, wants clarity and commitment. The Warriors want value and control. But there's an undeniable mismatch in leverage. Golden State risks losing a 21-year-old athletic two-way forward who averaged career-high numbers last season, 16.1 PPG, 4.8 RPG, 52.9 FG%, and showed flashes of stardom when given expanded minutes. And yet, they're also constrained by a shrinking window with their aging core, and a luxury tax bill that continues to balloon. If they overpay Kuminga, they may be tying up money that could otherwise be used to support Curry's final championship run. If they let him walk or trade him for pennies on the dollar, they could be sacrificing their best shot at a seamless transition into the next era. What's next? Right now, the ball is in Kuminga's court. He can accept a bridge deal that keeps him in Golden State while giving him room to grow into a larger role. Force a trade and risk landing in a less stable environment without the veteran leadership or system he's thrived in. Or bet on himself and take the qualifying offer, gambling on a big payday next summer as an unrestricted free agent. The Warriors, meanwhile, must decide if they're willing to meet in the middle, cut bait early, or play a long and risky waiting game. Whatever happens next, one thing is clear: this situation has already cast a shadow over the Warriors' off-season. And if it's not handled soon and wisely, it could haunt the franchise well into the future. Are the Warriors quietly setting the stage for a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade? It sounds like a long shot, but maybe it's not as far-fetched as it seems. Right now, everything surrounding Jonathan Kuminga has hit a frustrating standstill. Golden State hasn't been thrilled with the trade offers they've received for the young forward. But here's the twist: instead of offloading him for a mediocre return, the Warriors may be playing the long game. And that long game? It just might involve Giannis Antetokounmpo. According to Tim Kawakami of the San Francisco Standard, the Warriors are hesitant to part ways with Kuminga for anything less than his full trade value, not because they're sold on his current impact, but because they want to keep their best trade chips intact in case Giannis becomes available. Why Kuminga still matters, even if he's not untouchable. Kuminga represents the kind of player rebuilding teams crave in return for a superstar: young, athletic, flashes of star potential. The problem? He hasn't consistently shown that he can lead a team or shoulder a major offensive role. That kind of uncertainty makes teams like the Bucks pause. Still, the Warriors know they have something valuable, especially when paired with draft picks and salary fillers. Re-signing Kuminga to a 2 to 3 year deal in the ballpark of $20 million per year, instead of the $30 million plus he's reportedly seeking, would keep him on a tradable contract while preserving Golden State's flexibility. The further we get into free agency without resolution, the more this outcome starts to look like Plan A. The real dream? Giannis in a Warriors uniform. If Kuminga stays and re-signs this summer, league rules would allow him to be traded mid-season. That's when things get interesting. Suppose the Bucks stumble early in the 2025 season. Maybe they look disjointed. Maybe Giannis starts to feel restless. Maybe, just maybe, he asks for a trade by February, or waits until next summer to make that move official. If that happens, Golden State wants to be ready. Kuminga, despite the drama, still believes he can be a multi-time All-Star if given the right opportunity. But in Golden State, at least for now, he won't have the starring role he's after. That limits his ability to boost his value before the trade deadline. The best-case scenario? He earns a consistent, impactful role off the bench, proving he's more than just potential. The Warriors front office knows that betting on Giannis isn't a sure thing. Other teams can outbid them. Some franchises have more picks, more proven young talent, and a better position to absorb a player like Giannis. Even if Giannis dreams of playing alongside Steph Curry out west, the Bucks would be foolish not to take the best deal available. But then again, stranger things have happened. NBA history is filled with twists no one saw coming. Kevin Durant to the Warriors, Kawhi to the Raptors, Harden to Brooklyn, then Philly, then LA. Nothing is off the table anymore. Golden State fans are understandably growing restless with the Kuminga drama. But what if this slow burn is part of something bigger? What if that impatience eventually turns into the most shocking blockbuster of the decade? Maybe this is all wishful thinking. Maybe Giannis never asks out, and Kuminga stays locked in a tug-of-war over his role and paycheck. But it's fun to dream. And if the Warriors are dreaming big, Giannis big, it might explain exactly why they're holding their cards so close to the chest. What a Giannis pursuit could mean for the Warriors' future. If the Warriors are truly positioning themselves for a run at Giannis, the implications go far beyond Jonathan Kuminga. This kind of blockbuster vision would mean that no one outside of Stephen Curry is truly untouchable. Players like Andrew Wiggins and Kevin Looney, both valuable, experienced, and on tradable contracts, could easily be part of a bigger package. Even future picks, including the Warriors' 2026 first-rounder or one of their promising young guards like Brandon Podziemski or Moses Moody, might be on the table if it means landing a generational talent like Antetokounmpo. But there's risk in the waiting game. The longer the Warriors hold out hope for a Giannis sweepstakes, the more they risk stagnating in the short term. They've already missed out on several mid-tier free agents who could have helped right away. And if Kuminga returns on a deal that's more about trade flexibility than role clarity, it could sour his relationship with the franchise even further. The result? A roster that's stuck in limbo, neither all in on the present, nor fully building for the future. Around the league, eyes are watching. Word travels fast in NBA circles. Rival GMs are already monitoring Golden State's silence on Kuminga and wondering, are they up to something bigger? Some believe the Warriors are quietly trying to stay under the radar until the right moment, when a superstar like Giannis becomes available and they can make a move without having telegraphed it months in advance. Others, however, view the Warriors as overestimating their assets. While Kuminga has talent, his uneven production and unresolved role have many execs questioning whether he's truly the centerpiece of a Giannis-level package. Some league insiders believe a team like Oklahoma City, Houston, or even Toronto could blow the Warriors out of the water with more enticing offers. That's why the next few months are critical. Golden State must walk a fine line. They need to rebuild Kuminga's on-court value while keeping him invested, all while waiting to see if the Giannis opportunity materializes. If they miscalculate, or if Giannis stays loyal to Milwaukee, it could leave them with an unhappy player, a missed window for trades, and a roster that's increasingly out of sync with Curry's remaining prime. What happens if Giannis stays put? Let's be real, Milwaukee still has control over this situation. Giannis is under contract through 2028. Even if he voices frustration, the Bucks have leverage. They've added veterans like Patrick Beverley and kept Chris Middleton around in hopes of keeping Giannis content. So what if Giannis decides to stay? That scenario would force the Warriors to pivot, and fast. If Kuminga was re-signed with trade flexibility in mind, but the Giannis deal never becomes available, Golden State may find itself needing to offload him anyway, but with fewer suitors and less leverage. It would also raise tough questions about team direction. Do the Warriors go all in again with aging veterans, or finally start preparing for a post-Curry future built around whatever young core remains? In the end, it's a high-stakes waiting game. The Warriors are betting on patience and possibility. They're hoping that by holding on to their chips now, they'll be able to go all in on the ultimate prize later. But there's no guarantee that prize becomes available. No guarantee they'll have the best hand when it does. And no guarantee that Jonathan Kuminga, arguably the most volatile asset they hold, will be willing to stick around and wait with them. If the gamble works, it could lead to another dynasty-defining moment. If it doesn't, it could mark the beginning of a slow fade from relevance. For now, Warriors fans will have to live in the space between hope and uncertainty, where dreams of Giannis in a Golden State jersey still dance in the distance, just out of reach. DeMarcus Cousins reveals what truly sets the Warriors apart, and Jimmy Butler's just now finding out. DeMarcus Cousins just dropped a powerful truth about his former team, the Golden State Warriors, and it's something Jimmy Butler is only now beginning to experience firsthand. The Warriors have long been considered one of the best-run franchises in the NBA, and it's not just because of the 4 championships they've won in the past decade. What truly sets them apart is how they treat their players, not just as athletes, but as people. That level of care and culture is something Jimmy Butler is starting to embrace in his first season with the team. Recently, on Run It Back via FanDuel TV, Cousins opened up about the Warriors' behind-the-scenes culture, and why it's unlike anything else in the league. Having been part of that organization, I 100% agree with Jimmy, Cousins said. It's hands down one of the best in the NBA. They treat their players right. They take care of their families. That stuff matters. Cousins went even further, revealing just how far the Warriors go to make their players and their loved ones feel valued. From meal planning on road trips to travel arrangements, during the playoffs and finals, they fly the players' families out on a separate plane. Not many teams do that. What Jimmy's saying. It's absolutely true. Even though Butler's just getting started in Golden State, Cousins is confident he'll be welcomed with open arms. Sure, it's early, he said, but knowing that organization, they're going to roll out the red carpet. They'll make sure Jimmy feels at home, like part of the family. That sense of trust and mutual commitment is exactly why Cousins believes the Warriors' recent move, extending Butler for 2 years at $121 million following his trade from Miami, is more than justified. Honestly, it makes sense, Cousins said. Jimmy's giving everything he's got. And the organization is meeting him halfway. That's how it should be. You want that relationship to thrive. You want your investment to pay off. And right now, it's working. In his first 30 games with the Warriors, Butler is averaging 17.9 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists, proving that even at age 35, he's still a force. And more importantly, he's found a team that treats him like more than just a stat sheet. Everyone, from the front office to the locker room, is doing their part to make this partnership succeed. And if Cousins is right, the best might still be ahead. Butler's smooth transition into the Warriors system hasn't just impressed his teammates, it's turning heads across the league. Many insiders initially questioned whether the 35-year-old veteran still had enough in the tank to justify such a massive extension. But his early performance has silenced most of the doubters. Inside the locker room, players and coaches rave about Butler's leadership and work ethic. His ability to adapt to the Warriors' fast-paced, team-first offense has been seamless. Off the court, his presence is equally felt, mentoring younger players, engaging with the community, and fully buying into the strength and numbers mentality that's defined the franchise for over a decade. Even Warriors head coach Steve Kerr weighed in on Butler's impact, saying, "Jimmy's presence has been huge for us. He's a competitor, a leader, and he fits right into the culture we've built. He's not just here to play, he's here to win." Meanwhile, around the league, Butler's resurgence with the Warriors has sparked conversations about how much a strong organizational culture can elevate a player's career. Analysts have pointed out that this move could extend Butler's prime by several more seasons, especially in an environment that prioritizes player wellness, smart load management, and a winning mindset. Social media also lit up after Cousins' comments went viral. Many fans praised the Warriors for continuing to do things the right way, while others compared it to how other teams often neglect the off-court needs of players and their families. NBA analyst Shams Charania even noted on the Pat McAfee show that the Warriors' investment in Butler is a clear signal that Golden State isn't done chasing titles, despite a roster with aging stars like Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. "This isn't about rebuilding," Shams said. "This is about reloading, and Butler gives them that competitive edge they need." Still, the pressure is on. With such a high-profile move and a major financial commitment, expectations have skyrocketed. The Warriors are no strangers to playing under a spotlight, but with Butler now in the mix, anything short of a deep playoff run will be viewed as a disappointment. And yet, for now, all signs point in the right direction. The chemistry is growing. The wins are piling up. And for Jimmy Butler, who's fought through injuries, trades, and doubters throughout his career, Golden State might just be the place where everything finally clicks. As Cousins put it best, when you've been through the ups and downs this league throws at you, finding a place where you're valued, really valued, that's rare. Jimmy's found that with the Warriors. Stephen Curry calls NBA underpaid, while Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Warriors hangs in the balance. Stephen Curry has never been one to shy away from speaking his mind, and his latest comments about NBA salaries come at a time when young forward Jonathan Kuminga finds himself in limbo with the Golden State Warriors. Kuminga, once seen as a rising star in the Warriors system, is still waiting for clarity. After limited playing time and a stalled development curve, he's made it clear he wants a bigger role and a bigger contract. He dreams of being an all-star, but in Golden State, opportunities have been hard to come by. Despite showing flashes of brilliance last season, Kuminga hasn't received any concrete offers during free agency. A potential trade to the Sacramento Kings was reportedly in the works, but the Warriors pulled the plug. Instead, the front office is now considering bringing him back on a short-term deal, with the intent to flip him later in the season. Fans aren't happy. Many feel Kuminga deserves more, not just for what he brings on the court, but for the potential that still burns inside him. And as this situation drags on, it's becoming clear that something deeper may be at play. That's where Stephen Curry's recent comments come in. In an interview with Complex, the Warriors franchise player opened up about the financial realities of today's NBA, especially under the new collective bargaining agreement, CBA. His take? Players, despite the eye-popping salaries, are still underpaid. "I know the numbers look crazy from the outside," Curry admitted. "But what the league is making now, it's 10 times more than before. And yet, we can't participate in the equity while we're playing. That's part of why I'd say, yeah, we're underpaid." Curry went on to explain how the current CBA limits how much teams can pay their players, especially those who don't fit neatly into max contract or role player boxes. That's the exact dilemma Kuminga is facing. He's not a max player, yet. But he's outgrown a rookie-scale deal. And under the current rules, there's little room for in-between. We play a special game, and this is a special industry, Curry continued. It's not going anywhere because the value of entertainment is only growing. But players should be able to share more in that growth. I hope those rules start to shift, and soon. Curry didn't mention Kuminga by name, but the message was clear. Players like him, stuck in this financial no-man's land, are the ones being squeezed. Kuminga, for his part, is reportedly seeking around $30 million per season on his next contract. Under normal market conditions, that wouldn't be unreasonable for a 21-year-old with elite athleticism, strong defensive instincts, and untapped offensive potential. But in the current CBA landscape, few teams can afford to take that bet, especially a team like Golden State, already deep into the luxury tax. To complicate matters further, many within the Warriors' locker room want Kuminga back. They see his value. They believe in his upside. But head coach Steve Kerr reportedly doesn't view him as a long-term starter, and that disconnect has made negotiations even more tense. This stalemate is hurting both sides. For Kuminga, every day without a deal is a missed opportunity to grow. For the Warriors, dragging their feet puts them at risk of losing a homegrown talent, or letting his trade value dip even further. What's clear is this: something needs to give. Curry's comments may just be the first crack in a larger conversation the league needs to have, about how young players are compensated, how growth is nurtured, and how teams balance development with the demands of winning now. Until then, Kuminga waits. The Warriors wait. And fans can only hope that this story ends not with another broken promise, but with a second chance. A franchise at a crossroads. The situation with Kuminga highlights a deeper issue within the Warriors organization, a growing tension between preserving a championship core and investing in the next generation. With Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green all well into their 30s, Golden State is walking a delicate tightrope between honoring the past and preparing for the future. And Kuminga, whether fairly or not, has become the symbol of that struggle. Internally, sources say the Warriors are divided. Some front office voices see Kuminga as a potential cornerstone, a two-way forward who could blossom into a star with the right role and support. Others, including head coach Steve Kerr, reportedly remain skeptical of his decision-making and consistency on the floor. That hesitation has stalled contract talks and left Kuminga in a frustrating limbo. Yet, while management deliberates, the clock is ticking. Kuminga has just 1 year remaining on his rookie deal. If the Warriors fail to extend him, or trade him before the deadline, they risk losing him for nothing in restricted free agency. Worse, they risk alienating other young talents like Moses Moody or Brandon Podziemski, who are closely watching how the franchise treats its future. League-wide reactions. Around the NBA, rival executives are paying attention. Several teams have reportedly inquired about Kuminga's availability, but most have been cautious. Not because they don't value his talent, but because the current CBA has made it harder to take financial risks. Under the league's new luxury tax penalties, taking on a rising player with a high salary expectation can cripple a team's flexibility for years. One anonymous GM told The Athletic, "Kuminga is the kind of guy you'd normally bet on. But with the second apron and all the new CBA rules, you have to be really careful. The margin for error is smaller than ever." Curry's comments have sparked larger conversations among player agents and the NBPA, National Basketball Players Association. If the most recognizable face in basketball is saying players are underpaid despite multi-million-dollar contracts, it raises questions about how future CBAs should be structured, especially around revenue sharing and equity participation. What comes next for Kuminga? As for Kuminga, his next move could define his career. If he returns to the Warriors on a short-term prove-it deal, it could be a chance to showcase his growth and increase his value ahead of a potential trade or free agency. But if tensions with the coaching staff remain unresolved, he risks another year of inconsistent minutes, and another year of development lost. Some insiders believe a change of scenery might be best for both parties. A young rebuilding team could give Kuminga the runway to fully spread his wings, while the Warriors could acquire veterans better suited for their current win-now window. Still, there's a bittersweet element to that possibility. Kuminga was supposed to be part of the Warriors' next chapter. Letting him walk could be seen as a failure of player development, especially if he blossoms into a star elsewhere. A franchise searching for balance. Golden State is facing one of its most important off-seasons in recent memory. With questions swirling around Thompson's future, roster depth, and the long-term viability of its big three, the handling of Kuminga's situation is a litmus test for where the franchise truly stands. Will the Warriors find a way to bridge the gap between eras? Or will they continue to prioritize the present at the expense of what could be? For now, Stephen Curry's words echo louder than ever. We're building something bigger than just a team, and that only works if everyone gets a fair chance to be part of it. The ball is in Golden State's court. What they do next will say more about their future than any stat line ever could.